Welcome to Jenkins and Jonez on the Volume Podcast Network. It's Thursday, August 19th, and we've got Christmas in the summer. A ton to talk about today. The announcement of that Christmas slate of games we're super excited for. We're talking about the KD Draymond interview. We are talking about the launch of our book club, which we're very excited for. We're also doing a tenable versus untenable, and the return of the Q&A segment. We realized we hadn't done one of those in a while, and we have some very interesting questions. Did you guys look at any of the questions?
No.
When a couple of them came in.
Good. All right. I'm excited.
I'm ready to get surprised.
Yeah, absolutely. As always, Jenkins and Jonez is hosted by my good buddies in real life and on the internet. LeJethro Jenkins, a.k.a. John.
What's that, Bubba's?
Dragonfly Jones, a.k.a. Tyler.
Hey everybody, I'm good.
We need one podcast where you do that voice the whole time.
No, we don't. Don't lie, Mike. Don't lie, Mike.
I'm Mike.
Keep it special. Keep it special. You know what I mean?
It's an intro only voice.
There we go.
Obviously, the big news of the week from the NBA is the announcement of the Christmas games. I forgot to screenshot the details, so I'm scrolling to look for those right now.
I think the most interesting thing is the KD Draymond shit. I think that's the best shit that happened from NBA. Oh my God. My bad.
Did you just burp?
Goddamn acid
I
reflux
burped all
going on.
into the mic. That burp came from my loins too, my G. That was I had to eat that motherfucker. That burp was thick. You feel me? Jeez.
All right. Well, we can talk about the KD Draymond first. Great sit down, a ton of gems in it. I think the thing that's getting the most play today, no surprise, is Draymond just straight up asking him about the infamous fight, after the verbal fight after the Clippers game, and the response to that from the Warriors management. And Draymond's question, which I love that he said, because I've been getting my ass kicked since you left, how much was that responsible for you leaving Golden State? KD specifically referenced The Last Dance, said, hey, when Scottie had fucked up, everyone got together and said, you fucked up. And the team was able to kind of share their feelings and move on from it. KD basically said he didn't feel like, the Warriors ever did that. So what did you guys think of that? Kind of interesting to see two dudes of that stature talk about that shit, not 20 years later, but, 2 years later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's an interesting point you bring up about how we are seeing the real-time grooming of like Draymond being a media personality while still an active NBA player, right? Which is very 2021-ish, I think, but that's probably a whole other discussion. But going back to what she said, I thought it was interesting that they both kind of agreed that the infantilizing of them by the management and Kerr and Myers was what rubbed them the wrong way, right? Like Draymond, was talking about how they were demanding that he apologize, and Draymond was like, bro, I'll talk to Kevin. Y'all aren't going to tell me what to say to Kevin. You know what I mean? Like they were trying to treat that grown ass man like a little ass kid, telling him what he had to say. He had to go apologize. And of course, there was some shit that Draymond and KD had to work out about that. And Draymond probably was the one who's going to have to own up and say, yo, I fucked up. I was wild and blah, blah, blah. But you cannot tell a grown ass man that he has to apologize to another grown ass man, right? You have to trust him to be an adult who's going to communicate with another adult and work that shit out himself. Like, I think, of course, management probably should have told Draymond, yo, you got to go talk to KD. Y'all got to work this shit out, and left it at that. You know what I mean? Without putting the fucking onus on him. You have to apologize here. It's a big difference between those two.
I mean, they blew it out of proportion. When corporate suits get involved in shit, this is basketball. That situation was a basketball situation. And they basically
I'm not sure.
Go ahead.
I'm not sure if they necessarily blew it out of proportion, because Draymond said in the interview, bro, we knew you checked out last season. You know what I mean? So that wasn't just some random shit that happened in the heat of the moment. That shit was bubbling for a minute there.
But if there's an argument and there is speculation of it, on Twitter or whatever, and then they actually go out and suspend a nigga, they fan the fucking fire, bro. Let them be men and just have the conversation. It was going to happen. You know what I'm saying? These motherfuckers
getting suspended for calling a teammate a bitch is wild.
Bro, that's a lot of shit, bro. And then Draymond even said, he just laughed in the nigga face like, this is ridiculous, because they are a great team, and management fucking panicked. They panicked, bro. You know what I mean? And did some weirdo shit. and made it awkward for everybody. You know what I'm saying? If they would have just let them handle it how they was going to handle it, it'll be Gucci.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It was just a total misread by management because, of course, they were getting the vibe too that, KD, he's got one foot out right now. You know what I mean? And we need to fucking bow down to him and do whatever we have to do to get him to resign. But KD was like, bro, I didn't want that treatment either. You know what I'm saying? I'm a grown-ass adult. Me and Draymond could have handled it like adults without y'all interfering.
Even when he talked about the media, he says that shit. I don't like when he doesn't like when they fawn over him too much or they're too hard. That conversation made me understand that man a lot. That was probably the best conversation I've seen with KD. Even though they already had that conversation on the podcast, it was really interesting in breaking shit down. Like, I see why he was saying, like, fuck analytics shit. The game of basketball is very simple to him. You know what I mean? The way he approaches the game, he said, they'll never understand how he sees a game. You know, when he first came in there thinking that they knew everything, all these really complicated ass ways to talk about basketball, bro, it's just basketball to KD. And that's what it is to a nigga that can do what KD does. So, and even how we talked about this in the group chat, like we've talked about this all the time, like chasing happiness is not the goal, bro. Just being content. You know, I'm talking about his balance and how he just wants to be in a moment.
Well, I want to talk a little bit more about the fight just for a second, because I think you both got to exactly what I was thinking of in different directions, which is this is what happens when, like, the Warriors, I think everyone felt like were the perfect team for the 2010s. They were a corporate venture that was very successful, and they had a very successful corporate merger with Airbnb 35 Incorporated, right? And that was a successful approach in putting that team together and in capitalizing off of what they had with Steph and Clay and Draymond. But you had a basketball problem between Dre and KD, where two basketball players who are both very prideful and have their own perspective that's legitimate, right? One of them called the other one a bitch. And they tried to solve it like an HR department. Like, they tried to solve it like Bob Myers is a former agent, not a former player. They tried to solve it in this is how we're going to get our synergy back, as opposed to, and to be honest with you, one thing that was interesting was they kind of agreed about the problem management had, but in different ways, because I think what KD was saying when he brought up the Scottie Pippen thing in The Last Dance is, we needed to have a day where Steve Kerr said, everyone tell Draymond your fucking problem with him. You know, I mean, like they needed to get all that out.
Of grievances and shit. Yeah,
but that's what he said. He said, instead of getting it all out, and like he said, they all talk about we're a family. That's the corporate speak, right? Family first. So we didn't do the family thing. We didn't get it out so we could fix the problem with you being the fourth best player on the team, but acting like, this fucking sort of tyrannical figure at times or whatever. And because of that, they weren't able to move on. So I thought that was really, really interesting. I think, like, if I was Bob Myers, I'd be very uncomfortable watching that interview, but I thought that was a really interesting window into when people talk about we need more former players in management and leadership positions. That's exactly the kind of thing they're talking about, because someone who had played understands that, like, okay, I don't need to call this in for an HR meeting. We need to just let these dudes hash it out in the locker room. And then they can either move past it or they can't. But that's their job. That's not the GM's job.
And it probably would have gotten like super heated in that locker room. But they would have handled it and moved on and been better for it. You know what I mean? Sitting down with the suits and, suspending motherfuckers and all that shit, that blows it way out of proportion. You know what I mean? And they didn't like all that shit. And it makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
Have you ever resolved a difference that you had with someone else in a supervised way? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I totally understood Draymond saying, I was going to apologize to him until you told me I had to, you know?
Like I said, they just read the situation all the way wrong. How do you see two grown men arguing? One of them calls the other one a bitch, and you feel like you have to step in and demand an apology from that dude. Like this dude's going to get up there and be like, I'm sorry, Kevin. Sorry for what? Oh, I'm sorry for calling you a bitch. Gosh. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how do you expect that to play out, bro? That's not how adults work shit out, man. It was, like I said, it was over babying of the whole situation. And I see why I rub both of them the wrong way.
They wanted him to adults. They wanted him to jump in his notes application and run to Twitter and get real, you know what I'm saying? Fuck all of that shit, bro. Like, let them handle that shit how they gonna handle this shit. You know what I mean? Like, And I understand how it got weird. The shit they was talking about, it wasn't. Kevin didn't see it when it mattered, especially when it mattered for him. You feel me? So
KD's found a place with James Harden and Kyrie Irving and Blake Griffin with the Brooklyn Nets that'll be totally drama free, and everyone. But I will say people do seem to be being allowed to do their shit a little bit more.
Well, you talked about this. You both, I think y'all did. The idea alone, the fact that they got these two people to sit down at this time, while Kevin Durant to me is still the best player is the best player in the world. You know what I mean? But Draymond is still fucking relevant. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we have this conversation now. I mean, what a fucking idea, man. That shit. The fact that they're even talking now just blew my mind. That's why I was thinking a lot when I was watching it. Like, how the fuck are we getting to see this now? This usually was waited. This usually was made a big deal.
This would be like a Shaq Kobe sit down in 2004. Right. So you know what I mean?
Like, gray hair, niggas, you know what I'm saying? Bad knees, big ass suits. You know what I'm saying? Right. All of that shit.
A lot of back and neck crying.
Hot dogs and hamburgers on the back of the neck. You know what I'm saying? Not a jumper can be shot anymore.
Right. And it's two current NBA players up there, in t-shirts and fittings.
Right.
2021 like a motherfucker. I love it, bro.
That nigga KD with them Jordan 1s.
Mm-hmm.
John brought it up, but I thought needed to be its own conversation on this podcast, because the three of us have talked a number of times over the years about chasing contentment and peace instead of happiness and joy. And he literally said that. KD literally said that in the interview. And maybe that's your window into going from the Warriors to the Nets. Maybe the Nets is, I can be myself. I'm at peace here. The Warriors, we could have done all this crazy shit, but it's the work of that, highs and lows and shit that he's trying to leave behind. But I thought that was interesting to see a dude who has so much more money and so much more career success, who's so much more famous than us, arrive at the same conclusion about how to actually live an enjoyable life. I was kind of surprised by that.
When you were at your brokest years, what would have helped you approach shit better? Thinking about the future and chasing happiness wouldn't have. I think the same way, regardless of the same approach would have helped me out. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of what stage of life I'm in. So, I mean, multi-millionaire status, I'll never understand that shit. You feel me? $100 million man will never understand that shit. But I know in my life, no matter what level I've been on, that approach would help me the most. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, it just goes back to how even-keeled KD is. Like, he mentioned he doesn't like media fawning over him too much. He doesn't like media being overly critical. He's not looking to be a dude who's all, super fucking happy through the roof all the time. Like, he's a dude who just wants peace and calm and being content. And I relate. You're one of us, Kevin. Besides the whole fucking 7-foot alien on the basketball court shit.
You're a 7-foot alien living in New York who could do anything you want at any time you want. And what you want to do is spend your Sundays like we spend our Sundays, watching basketball and talking shit on Twitter. Like, very interesting.
Makes a lot of sense. But I love how I love that they talked about the media. Because, I thought he was like on some other shit, like just, on some fuck. He's not on some fuck the media shit. He's on some like, stop asking me these extra ass question shit. You know what I'm saying? Stop trying to create shit. You know what I mean? He's just on some like, bro, like it's not that big a deal. I'm fucking KD. I did that shit because I'm fucking Kevin Durant, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that difficult. Y'all trying to make it super, analytics, all this shit. Nah, nigga, I'm just really fucking good at basketball. You know what I mean? I work really hard and I'm really fucking good. So I get it. I get it. I don't get it. I've never been half as good at anything, but I get why he approaches shit that way. Like I said, this is the best I've ever seen KD.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What's that shit he said on his Black Planet page in like 2008? I'm me, I do me, and I chill. Like, that's fucking Kevin Durant's life fucking mantra right there.
And he's had a lot of growth and change clearly as a person from 2008, but the core desire has remained the same, which I think is very admirable.
He talked about his perception, how he thought about things, differently, how he was younger. He was still him, but he was younger. Now he's an older version of that same thing with a lot more knowledge. You know what I mean? So the things that like were amazing to him aren't that anymore. It's like, I see what y'all niggas are, But
let's talk about the NBA announced the two opening of the schedule. There's the October opening when the season technically starts, and then there's the Christmas Day schedule when people actually start paying attention. Yep. Everyone besides basketball junkies. Let's talk about the Christmas Day schedule. Hawks at Knicks in the morning, Celtics at Bucks, then Warriors at Suns, then Nets at Lakers is the primetime game. Then Mavericks at Jazz. What jumped out at you guys from this schedule?
Why the fuck are the Jazz there? Why couldn't that have been Mavs Nuggets? That's what I would have wanted. I would have wanted having the MVP not play on Christmas is wild. That's a big fucking fumble there. I don't get that at all.
I was hoping for Mavs Clippers. I mean, but like basically anyone other than the Jazz, for the night game. I mean, I get it. It's 10:30 on the East Coast. They know, that's a West Coast game for sure. But like Mavs Clippers, you get some, I mean, like there's some juice in that and some dudes who don't like each other and everything. I know maybe they're, thinking about Kawhi not necessarily being available or whatever, but I was surprised at that as well. And I think someone said it's the first time that the reigning MVP hasn't played on Christmas in quite some time.
Yeah.
For Jokic, which is kind of a surprise too.
Celtics. I know they're the Celtics, but I don't give a fuck. Other than Jason Tatum, them niggas, sorry, Jackson, it's a fucking fact. These niggas are not good. We want to see them. I mean, show that motherfucker at 9 a.m., dog. Get them niggas out of here. The Bucks finna drug them niggas, bro. Like, why?
Their problem is they wanted Nets Lakers, so they couldn't give us Nets Bucks, which would have been like that would have been the right matchup for the Bucks.
Yeah.
My number one takeaway is just Nets Lakers, like 5 o'clock on the West Coast. That's perfect. I'm so fucking excited. Like, I might sell part of my house to attempt to go to the game with the kids. It's going to cost like $900 for nosebleeds or some shit.
High off turkey and Blue Dream watching that shit, bro. It's gonna be
a fucking party, nigga. Right? Fucking Bron, AD, Russ, KD, Harden, Kyrie, goddamn. Like, if you can see that in person, see that shit in person, bro.
Well, I'll talk about the Lakers opening game. The Lakers open up on opening night with the Warriors at home. So Russ's debut, like that for me, especially trying to think about taking the kids, like you check a lot of all-timer boxes on that shit. You know what I mean? Like if we can find a way to get to that game too, like it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be fucking crazy.
Is Clay good to go for the season start?
I don't know. That'll probably determine how much of the house I'm willing to.
Yeah.
Hey, Clay be out here missing practice. They talked about that shit on that KD shit too, man. We don't talk about. I know that nigga be high as fuck. Like, hey, I catch y'all next Tuesday. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna go in the game. I'm gonna go and shoot at 11 o'clock tonight by myself.
Right.
Go ahead and have practice without me.
Miss half a jumper the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Fuck out of here.
All right. We had a brief conversation that really piqued a lot of people's interest on the last show about my kids complaining about being at Old Navy and John bringing up that we used to have to like weave between exercise equipment at Sears and shit to get fucking new school jeans. You wanted to talk about like different stores that you were at as kids, or what did you want to talk about?
I'm just saying, like, bro, there were some stores that really held a nigga down. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, dude, when I first pulled up freshman year, I was JCPenney's out, nigga. You feel me? Like, I look like a nigga out the Babies Club, that token nigga at the Babysitters Club. You feel me? Like, I was like pulling up like, damn, you feel me? When I discovered fucking Layaway and fucking Burlington Coat Factory, that saved a nigga, dog. Like, well, I could actually wear Nautica for like $34.99. TJ Maxx was another one. The shit might be irregular, but it was Tommy, though. You feel me? Like, dog, there were some stores that held us down. And people were interacting with me. I'm like, nigga, who was actually going to like dealers paying full price, $68, $72 for a polo and shit like that? You know what I mean? Did anybody actually do that shit?
Can I tell a story real quick that might get me in trouble? But it's like one of the funniest things I ever heard.
Do it.
There's a kid at Poly like 10 years ago or something at this point named Richie Smith, who is an All-American wide receiver, played in the Army All-American Bowl, went to Arizona State and Boise State, youth Snoop Football League like legend. Great kid. He put up a picture on Instagram at one point of him in that outfit you described with like the plaid pants and some suspenders and like a Newsies hat. I was in practice the next day and this dude who was a linebacker who was like the funniest dude on that team said, "This for Richie looked like a runaway slave on Instagram."
Oh man. Nigga, did he have on the hard bottom suit?
Yeah.
Of course he did. Oh my God, bro.
There was like 70 kids laughing as hard as they could for like 20 minutes. They had to stop practice, bro.
What a world these kids live in. You get like, when we were growing up, you would just get flamed for what you had on in the moment. These motherfuckers are going to your Instagram and doing homework now, bro. Like they are having shit in the chamber for when they see you for some shit you wore a week ago. God damn, I'm glad I grew up when I did, bro.
It was still hard though. It was still hard. We didn't have, like, the thing is, like, when shit was popular, the shit that was popular we liked was expensive. You know what I'm saying? Like Old Navy, you could look good for cheap. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't even, like, I don't even, was Gap even around like that? I don't even know if I could go to Gap back then. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Like, everything was expensive. Nigga, that Tommy and shit, all that shit was expensive. So, bro, I remember, I can't believe
we did all my uniform shopping at like Target, bro. You know what I mean? Like when we weren't at Sears and we were across the street in Long Beach at Target, like get some gum, some popcorn to walk around with, and 6 white polo shirts for fucking school. Like,
I remember shopping at Goodies, getting duck head and shit. My fucking one time, me and my sister, because we would swap shoes. I remember like swapping shoes with homies and whatnot. So it was Christmas time, and me and my sister wanted to get sneakers. So she got a shoe like that was a size and a half too big. So me and her could swap shoes. I like talked her into it. Nigga, she wears, she's tall though. She's like 5'7", but so she wears like a 9.5 in women's now. She was out here wearing a fucking 11 in men's.
You had her out here clown shoes, bro.
That motherfucker was out.
Those some goddamn scuba flippers, bro.
Hey, niggas low key still talk about that shit. The old homies like, I was wondering if her foot was really that big. When I tell them the story, they be like, nigga, you had her out. Bro, but hey, I mean, it was like the Air Max 96 joints or some shit, like the 96 Air Max. Anyway, but man, like we had to figure out some shit, bro. You know what I'm saying? Niggas would share clothes and all that type of shit, bro, just to make it through the week. You feel me? Bro, man, Burlington TJ Maxx Marshalls, $24.99 for the polo. Shit, bro.
Burlington hell will hold you down. Like you fuck around and find like a $70 polo for like $18 or some shit. You know what I mean? You know, one of them sleeves might come to your elbow while the other one was right here, but you know what I'm saying? It was still a deal, bro. Still had to make that motherfucker work.
And layaway too. Layaway, nigga, man, that saved Christmas, bro.
Hell yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'll be out here, you know what I'm saying? JCPenney down if it wasn't for layaway, nigga. Shit, bro. Chaps, Ralph Lauren, all that. But anyway, I thought it was interesting people talking about the stores. I forgot about some of these stores.
I had a conversation with my mother-in-law about that. Vincent really wore through, like came home in his jeans with no knees on the jeans. You know what I mean?
That's how it happens, though. That's supposed to.
100%. But she wanted to patch it up, right? And I was like,
you are feeding that boy to the wolves. I'm
out here looking like Dennis the Menace, nigga.
I said, absolutely right. I said, absolutely never in your life. And she was like, well, what, you know, our kid, you and, you know, my kids, and I was like, because he doesn't fucking have to. I'm going to go buy him a new pair of fucking jeans because his dad can afford that shit.
I'm going to buy him some new jeans with holes in them because that's what a dad does. We buy our holy jeans, nigga.
Fashionable holes.
Fashionable holes, nigga. I bought these holes, nigga. I paid for these holes. You feel me?
He's not poor. His jeans are just pre-distressed.
Right. Distressed denim. You know what's coming.
Get into it.
Oh, shit, nigga.
All right. I have a tenable versus untenable for you. I've been thinking about this for a long time. It's a personal life decision for me, and I need you to both weigh in on it publicly. I'm Italian. My grandpa was Italian. My grandpa came over from Sicily. Gold chain guy.
Okay.
Old Italian man with the wife beater, right? I don't wear the undershirt out like that.
The A shirt?
Yeah, but I've been considering making the move to wearing a gold chain. Your thoughts?
Absolutely.
Tenable, untenable?
Very tenable. I'm extremely pro gold chain. I mean, how big is the gold chain here, though? Well, and
like not like Cuban links, like a like a thinner gold chain.
Yeah, shit. I got about 2-3 little thin gold chains myself. Very fashionable. I'm all for it. Highly recommend.
You're not a doughy middle-aged white dude, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's absolutely a different conversation. So that's why I'm running it by you both as my close friends and confidants.
Get you a gold chain, nigga. Okay? You're fucking Mike G, nigga. Fuck you talking about, nigga. You ain't the everyday. You're not a Mac, nigga. All right? You're fucking Mike G. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Come on, man.
I'm Homer Simpson who doesn't drink, bro. You know what I mean? The kids are obsessed with the Simpsons right now, and it's like I'm not Bart anymore. I'm Homer Simpson. You know what I mean? Like
you ain't Homer, man. Dog, man, come on, Mike, nigga, get you a little gold chain. Get cute on these niggas. What the fuck you talking about?
All right.
You know what I mean? You're a hat guy, dog. You got it in you, bro.
Okay. Tenable.
Very tenable.
Certified tenable.
What really made you question this? What really made you question this?
Like whether I should do it or not?
Yeah, like what?
I don't know how it would look. I've never worn any, other than my wedding ring, I've never worn any jewelry of any kind ever in my life. I just haven't done it. So
I think wearing rings is harder than wearing chains, obviously. Honestly, to be honest.
But we even got the white gold that's like more discreet than gold or silver. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like we got the like chillest shit imaginable. But Char's kind of the same way too. Char wears necklaces, but she's not walking around with one of the rings that someone would cut your finger off for because it would change your life. You know what I mean? We're just not like pew pew. Like that's not really
pew pew.
There's nothing pew pewing off of us when the lights are on. You know what I'm saying?
I think. Yeah.
Go ahead, Tyler.
See, I was gonna say, I think there's kind of like a different shift. I think there's kind of like a different shift between us and Mike because, like, I don't know about you, John, but when I was like a teenager, early 20s, I was iced the fuck out. Jesus pieces, all that shit, right? So now when I just throw on a little plain thin gold chain, I feel like I'm wearing understated jewelry as opposed to the jewelry I used to wear back then. Because, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I used to be iced the fuck out back when I was, in high school and shit. So, but you're making a whole leap into it while we're kind of leaping back from the shit that we used to wear. You know what I'm saying? So,
so
yeah, I kind of see the difference there.
I didn't have the whole big chain. I did have the big ass fake ass earrings though. That made your earlobes droopy as a motherfucker. I did have those. But as far as like, I mean, just like the little thin ass fucking chain, bro.
I was wearing 4-year-old glasses when I graduated college and when my tooth exploded, putting the gold tooth on layaway. Like that's where I was.
Hey, get you a gold chain and go ahead and get you some fronts, nigga. Get you about 2 or 3 fronts too. Let's see
we'll walk before we run.
We gonna get you there, buddy. We gonna get you there.
We're very excited to announce the Jenkins and Jonez off-season book club.
Fucking yes, nigga! Oh my god, it's time, bro.
I don't remember, what did we call it before? Was it the Internet Friends Book Club?
Reading.
It was just books.
Literature.
Books! Exclamation point.
I don't know. We decided. What did Tyler call it?
I guess we'll work on the title.
Oh yeah, what was you named it.
Yeah, you did name it. And
my favorite writer nigga.
Yeah. My favorite writer nigga book club. I'm into it.
Okay, so here's the format I'm going to propose. We're going to take turns picking books. Tyler has picked the first one. I'm picking the second one, and then John will pick a third one. Tyler's going to announce a book and tell you a little bit about why he picked it. And then I will tell you how we'll read like 100 pages ish a week, but I think we could do this book in 2 weeks. And then we're hoping to have the writers on. That's one of the modifications we're trying to make here. So we're very excited. I think it was a shitload of fun the last time we did this. It's so much fun cracking jokes about fucking books and not just like everyone making the same joke about LaMelo Ball or like whatever the fuck, with all due respect, but
is LiAngelo going to the NBA, nigga? Fuck out of here.
Okay, Tyler. So Tyler, tell us about this book and why you picked it.
Okay, so yes. So we're gonna go with They Can't Kill Us Until They Kill Us by Hanif Abdul-Rakib, who's probably one of my favorite writers right now. Follow him on Twitter as well. Basically, it's a collection of essays, and it's very much it's unique in the perspective of it kind of ties a lot of pop culture, sports references into daily living, coming of age. So it's a very interesting read. It's a very fun read. It's passages on there about Schoolboy Q, about Chance the Rapper, about Whitney Houston and Michael Jackson. Is really, really fun, really enlightening. So highly recommend. So our listeners can go and cop it off Amazon or whatever. And we're gonna dive into this motherfucker. I already read it, to be clear, but I'm gonna reread it because I love that book so fucking much.
And I'm gonna propose we'll read Roman numerals 1, 2. I think it was 1, 2, 3, and 4, which is like the first 130 pages or so. I feel like that's a good. Oh yeah, Roman numerals 1 through 3. It's about 115 pages.
Are we going to do it every week? We're going to talk about it every Wednesday or every Wednesday?
We'll do every Thursday show. So we'll do the first half of this book next week, the second half the week after. If you want to go ahead and order up or whatever, the book that I'm going to pick for the second book is How the Word is Passed by Clint Smith. So that's your next, 4 or 5 weeks of shit for the book club. And like I said, we're hoping to have Hanif and Clint on just because I think I'm a reading type of a person, and most of the conversations you hear with authors, they're so fucking boring, and it's the same questions over and over again. I'd love to have these dudes on and just actually like have a different kind of a conversation about their books. So,
can I still pick Beloved, or do I need to pick somebody that we actually can interview?
No, you pick whatever you want.
Okay.
Yeah, for the third book. Beloved is heavy as fuck, though, bro.
I know, man. But it's
How the Word is Passed is not an uplifting book either. Right, but Beloved is like fucking.
Maybe I'll pick The Bluest. I already read that, though. I'm trying to pick somebody I haven't read.
Okay. All right. Anyway, those are the first 2 books, and we'll talk about the first half of They Can't Kill Us Until They Kill Us next week. So definitely pick that up. And the nice thing about the book club is if you read ahead or you're behind, you could just listen to the segment when you finish, when you catch up or whatever the fuck. So, all right, we have a Q&A segment to end on. We got some really good submissions. So
fuck yeah.
As always on the Q&As, thank you so much for all the nice things you said. As a couple people noted, you're correct. I'm not going to read all the nice things. Like we take it that the people who listen to the show like the show. We really appreciate it. And thank you for passing that on. Question from Lug Knight, the homie on Twitter. If you could replace, I'll give you a choice of which one of these you want to answer. If you could replace any member of any band or musical group throughout history, who would you choose and why? Or what franchise in which sport would you take over today as the GM with the end goal being a championship?
Okay, so with the band question, we're hopping in that band and kicking
You're
someone
replacing
out?
Like the drummer in Metallica. You know what I mean? Like that kind of a thing.
And we would have that person's talent? Is that the
caveat here? Wow.
I assume so. Yeah,
I don't know if that's what we'd be doing.
Well, I mean, if the answer to that, I can't be in anything, doing anything.
Yeah, I feel like that's the most fun hypothetical here. So let's fuck it. Okay. That's a good damn question.
Jesus.
Yeah. That's a really, really fucking good question.
I don't want to be for real the nerd. I want his mind. I want to be in for real's mind. I want to think in the way he thinks. I want to approach things the way he approaches. I want to experience that. So I would choose that.
I'd be Goldie Loke in the East Siders.
Yeah, that's
like
that's
you.
a good call.
Like you hang out with Snoop Dogg and Trey D. Like that sounds fucking great, bro.
Yeah. I
I
have no fucking idea. I really have no fucking idea.
If the question was the other way around,
Tyler's too knowledgeable.
Hey,
Tyler's literally
much
thinking
shit,
about
bro.
every group in the history of music right now.
if the question was the other way around and you weren't taking over, but you were filling in a person that you didn't think was, should have been in the group, I'd have probably chose a fat nigga in fucking in Bone, nigga.
Which was Wishbone, he's
there was never a Wish verse. I needed this Wish verse. I'd have replaced him, and, you know what I'm saying?
Or replace Praz and the Fugees.
For sure.
Oh my God, that motherfucker. That motherfucker was doo-doo water.
Nigga, hated Praz.
All right.
Bro.
I need an answer out of Tyler. We got other questions.
Oh shit. Let me see. Fuck it. Let me be Questlove and the Roots. Let me be the fucking drummer in the best rap band ever.
Okay.
Can't beat that, bro. Okay. This is from AJ10Q on Twitter. He said, after watching Loki and the MCU What If show, because Marvel's been on some very get high and think about the multiverse shit this summer. Imagine a variant version of you based off of one different decision. What's one different decision you could make? So he specifically brought up, what if John had not, what if John was still religious schoolboy John?
Y'all really turn me into a fuck boy, nigga. Like, they think I'm a fuck boy. Niggas think I'm fucking Republican. You feel me?
No, but that's a fair question because you were at one time, you were a very different version of yourself and you effectively made one decision or realized one thing that now you're a very different person. You know what I mean? So
for the record, I was never Republican. My mom would have beat my ass. Let's get that.
This is a safe space. And no one is calling you a Republican.
Nigga, we gonna fight over that shit in real life, nigga. But I don't know. What Tyler, you go first.
Oh, let me think. If there was one different decision I made, maybe if I picked a different college, probably I would. I don't see myself not being who I am, regardless of what went down. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of a hard hypothetical to think of.
Did you waver on creating a Twitter account, or were you
funny shit? The reason I created a Twitter account, I probably told y'all this before. I was on MySpace. I was a big Wale fan. Still am a big Wale fan. That motherfucker can rap. And Wale was like, yo, I'm dropping my mixtape on Twitter. Hop on. And I joined Twitter for a Wale mixtape. So if I wasn't on MySpace, you know what I mean? And following Wale on MySpace, we might not be here right now. Who the fuck knows?
Zero chance we'd be here, bro. Yeah. I've never been to Richmond ever, and I don't think you've ever been to Long Beach. So if it wasn't for Twitter, I don't know how this would have happened.
I fucked off my first year academically of college and couldn't hoop. And because I fucked off, I ended up leaving that school and going and like then ended up in St. Louis. I think if I was hooping, I definitely wouldn't have left, right? You know what I'm saying? So I think like me not fucking up my freshman year would have changed the trajectory of my life completely. I still would have been me, but I wouldn't have been me. You know what I mean? Like I still would have been me, but I definitely wouldn't have. Like St. Louis is very pivotal for me.
That's exactly where I almost dropped out of Long Beach State during my freshman year to go crash in Shar's dorm room at UCLA and just like write and just like, I'm not getting anything out of this. I couldn't get any classes for my major. So I was just taking like general ed, like bio 100 shit that I already did it in high school and I was in a magnet program in high school. So I felt like I already knew. I wasn't really learning anything. It was not exciting. And I was like, I could literally just go crash and write like, 80 hours a week or some shit. So I was like pretty close to doing that actually. And then I also ended up dropping out of grad school to become a writer professionally. But if I hadn't have done that, I probably would be like an English professor or something that I would not like.
English
it'll probably
professor,
be
you
good
wouldn't
money.
like that? You wouldn't like being an English professor? I think
I
you'd
would
be a
not-
great teacher.
I would not succeed in an educational bureaucracy.
Okay, that's understandable.
I would enjoy teaching people, but I would not enjoy the business part of
dummy politics and that shit. Yeah, I understand that.
Yes. Like we want you to talk about like equity and diversity, but we don't want you to actually do anything that would encourage those things. You know what I mean?
And then the pompousness of that space too is like, that's not it. But I think the students would love you. You know what I mean? The dean might not fuck with you though.
Teaching.
You
Yeah,
know what I'm
for
saying?
sure.
Right.
Okay, this is a really good, classic, very stupid question. And he actually even said dumbass Q&A question in the subject line. This is from regular Chris on Twitter. He says, those scenes in white people's kids movies where someone's at a restaurant and passes out into a plate of food. If you were in that situation, what food would you want to fall into to sustain the least damage to your face and head? My friends and I have been arguing about this for months.
Okay, so
we know exactly what those arguments sound like.
Bro, they're sweating in those arguments. They are fucking, you know what I mean? Like they're wiping their face. They're so fucking into that shit. What do y'all think?
So the question is, what is the food or the plate or the dish that would be the most protectful to avoid like a concussion or some shit? Is that the question?
Or fucking your neck up or something. Yeah. And I'm going to say it has to be realistic, obviously, to some extent.
I think you got to go. I think the dessert category here, there's so many to pick from. I think like a birthday cake, like if it was your birthday and you just phoned to a birthday cake, you're good, bro. Nothing happens from that. You know what I mean? Or sweet potato pie or some shit. Like I think the desserts have it here, bro.
I thought
the desserts might have a candle. The desserts might have a skinny candle on it, though. Right.
I thought a bowl of noodles, man, like some spaghetti, bro.
Bro, your head gonna hit that motherfucking plate. Noodles ain't shit, man.
I'm just like a bowl of them, a bowl,
because that's what I was thinking. Because I was originally thinking like mashed potatoes, but I was like, when do you ever have mashed potatoes stacked up high enough?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I mean? Are we doing bowls or plates? Because if we're doing bowls, it's the depth that saves you, not the actual food.
But it would have to be. I have a big fucking head. I'm a 7 to 7/8 hat. Like, you know what I mean?
Wait. That's your hat for real size? That's your size for real?
No.
we can't just skim by that. All right, okay. I was gonna say
7 and 5/8.
Okay,
it's a normal big head. It's like a big head, but not big enough to get in the sideshow. You know what I mean?
7 5/8 was a hat I was wearing in fucking 2003. That was a pinwheel size. And them motherfuckers was hella extra meat. And that motherfucker just put right on your shit. You know,
so you're not, it's not falling off on fucking Splash Mountain. You know what I mean? So if it was a bowl for me, it would have to be a very big bowl for me to not just crack my jaw on the rim of the bowl. That was my thought too. I think, but the birthday cake, with the exception of the candle potentially going through your eyeball,
an apple pie, like you said, like a cobbler or something.
It's the dessert.
Does not have candles on it.
Yeah.
So it might be like a cobbler or some brownies.
A lemon meringue pie. A lemon meringue is firm enough. That will be like shock absorption. You know what I mean? Once you get past the cream and shit, like that lemon base.
Okay.
A lemon meringue pie might be the best.
Red velvet stacked up. You feel me?
Feel
me? Real velvet stacked up. Them shits be like
so
5 inches high.
In the dessert category.
Right. Yeah, it's a dessert.
Okay, last question.
That was a ridiculous fucking question.
I like that. I love that question.
But we didn't talk about it. We didn't argue. We were trying to figure that motherfucking answer out.
See, but they've probably been thinking about it long enough that someone's like, this would be the one. And someone else is like, no, I found the one. Right. Like, that's the,
We talked about it like we talked about the book club. That was a serious conversation.
Okay. And then Luca Papagayo has got a question for each of us specifically. John, he wants some beauty tips from you. He says he got exfoliating gloves from you. And he says he's fucking with he wants to know what body wash you use with your exfoliating gloves. He says he has an Aveeno wash.
Oh, wow.
He's wondering if there's something better.
Hana Beauty has like an exfoliating body scrub, which I use, and a soap bar. But like my straight up body wash, I mix Fiji with Dove. I just take 2 squirts of each and put it on. You know what I'm saying? Fiji for the smell, Dove because it makes me feel moisturized. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, that's what I use for my body wash.
Tyler, he says he's also a huge UNC basketball fan, and he said he's a fan because of Kendall Marshall and Lawson. But he was wondering, what's your UNC? Being a Virginia dude, what's your UNC basketball origin story?
Mm-hmm. I inherited from being a UNC fan from my pops. My pops grew up in a little country ass town called Red Oak in Virginia, which is like 15 minutes from the North Carolina border. And they used to get UNC games when he was a kid, on local TV. And Charlie Scott, first Black player in the ACC, who Dean Smith, signed on board to UNC. My dad saw this Black kid when he hadn't ever seen Black kids playing college ball on his TV before. And he started following UNC because of that. And I became a UNC fan. So basically, Dean Smith being a stand-up dude, being for integration is the reason I'm a Carolina fan. Funny ass story though. I follow Charlie Scott's daughter now. Like we're fucking Twitter buddies. Simone Scott on Twitter. And it's crazy. We've talked and I'm like, yo, I'm a UNC fan because of your pops. You know what I'm saying? My pops and your pops. And now we're Twitter buddies. Life is fucking crazy like that.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
if Wale had not have dropped that mixtape on Twitter.
All of this is not for Wale. We wouldn't be having this fucking pod. I wouldn't be friends with Charlie Scott's daughter. It's crazy.
That's fucking wild. I love that. All right. That was a great episode. Thanks so much for tuning in. Book club ahead. Booger Boy on Monday. We got all kinds of fun stuff coming up. Hoping to get a couple more guests coming up in the next week or two as well. So stay tuned to Jenkins and Jonez. Thanks so much. Bye.
Peace.
Bye.